What's going on, guys? Aldrin Estacio here with FlytPath.com, and as of course you guys know, the Mavic 2 Pro is here. It is the most anticipated drone of the year, or of the last couple years. But why is it that way? Why are people waiting for this? I want to talk to you a little bit more, not about flights and not about flight distance and stuff like that in this video. This video is more about the main reason, which of course more people are excited about, and that is the merger of these two drones right here, which is the Phantom 4 and the Mavic Pro, and that is the Mavic 2 Pro with a 1-inch sensor. Since DJI and Hasselblad partnered up a few years ago, we really haven't seen any combined products from them until now. The new Mavic 2 offers a Hasselblad camera with a 1-inch sensor. I'm of course going to have a bunch of videos talking about all the new technology, the flight distance, flight time, all the new smart modes, point of interest, and things like that in other videos. Here I wanted to shine a little bit more light on just the technology and the camera sensor and go a little bit more detail about that. If this is something that interests you, definitely stick around as I dive a little bit deeper into the sensor and talk about all the benefits and value you'll get from it. So in this video, I want to kind of dive down a little bit more into the camera sensor and what exactly does that mean for you as a photographer or you as a drone pilot. Do you even need it, or is that just something that's more on the gimmick side that a lot of people do actually in general? They talk about megapixels, they talk about larger this and that, bump up specs, but are you really going to use it in your video and your photo? And if you are, what are the benefits of having it? So the reason why I'm saying this is the most anticipated drone for a while now is because I'm an existing photographer. So if you're still getting into drones and you're still getting into photography, this video is more about the photography video side than it is about, you know, flying a drone or anything like that. So I think for me at this point, you know, the technology has already surpassed what I'm going to really need it to do. Even though the Mavic 2 Pro can fly out 5 miles now versus, you know, 4 point something miles. Those things are absolutely, you know, amazing specs to read and do. I'm never going to test those limits, but I am going to test things that really mean a lot to me, which is more about the sensor size and more about photography and a little bit of videography as well. So when it comes to sensor size and having a larger sensor, what exactly does that mean as far as a photographer goes? Now with the smaller sensors here we have on the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Air, you have a really small sensor. So a really small camera sensor, which is a 1/2 sensor on these smaller drones right here. When you start moving up into the bigger categories of drones and sensors, now you can actually have a 1-inch sensor, which is a little bit bigger. You have a 1-inch sensor on the Phantom 4 Pro as well as the Mavic 2 Pro. And then you jump up to the next level again. This is the X5, which I would fly on my Inspire. This is a micro 4/3 camera. So of course it's another step up from a 1-inch. You have a little bit bigger of a sensor here. And then I'm actually shooting this video on a Sony a7 III, which is a full frame 35mm size sensor. So if you aren't exactly sure about what that means, so that's where the reference of 35mm full frame goes. It references back to the film days when they would use 35mm strips of film. Yes, there's large format, medium format. We're just talking about the kind of sensors that we have here on these types of drones. Now, generally with a larger sensor, you're able to produce a larger image size. Now, image size and megapixels don't necessarily mean you're gonna get a better photo out of it if your megapixels are really up there. Like there's cell phones with like 40 megapixels, but the image quality is still not gonna be as good as say a full frame camera with like 12 megapixels. Just because of the megapixel size doesn't mean that the image quality is gonna be better. You also have to understand that if there's a larger sensor and you're able to do a lower megapixel count, like actually the X5 is only 16 megapixels, but the Phantom 4 Pro is 20. Just because you're talking about 20 megapixels versus 16, the fact that there's a larger sensor on the X5 actually will produce a higher quality image as far as the size goes with 16 megapixels. So I took out the Mavic Air as well as the Mavic 2 Pro out in La Jolla, California, just to do a basic shoot. I wanted to take them both up, have everything in auto, and I just want to see how big of a difference the quality was as far as photos go straight out of camera. So here's a shot of the Mavic Air of the Scripps Pier, As you can see here, I'm in the bottom left, and here is another shot with the Mavic 2 Pro straight out of camera. These are no post-processing. Just want to show you the difference straight out of camera. Here's the Mavic 2, and then here is the Mavic Air straight out of camera types of shots. So don't always look at the megapixel number and think, hey, I'm getting a higher megapixel, which means it must be a higher quality image. You might get a larger image, but the quality itself, a lot of that is determined based on the sensor size. So image size, when it comes down to the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Air, these are 12 megapixel cameras that will produce you a photo image of about 4,000 by 3,000. When you talk about the Phantom 4 Pro as well as the Mavic 2 Pro, you're gonna get a 20 megapixel, about 5,500 pixels wide image, but it's a larger sensor, so you're also getting a larger image and a higher quality image compared to these two. Now, like I mentioned, the X5 actually shoots for 16 megapixels, but there's a larger sensor on this. So even though the image size might not be as big as this, the quality of image that's coming out of it is gonna be even higher than these cameras right here. So with a larger sensor, you're able to capture in more ambient light. So if you have a really small sensor like the ones that are on the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Air, when you get into situations where you're either shooting indoors or shooting later in the evening or really early in the morning and there's not that much ambient light out there, what's happening is that your camera sensor will, in order for you to properly expose that image, because the sensor is so small and it can only capture a certain amount of light in order for it to properly expose it, it's gonna then bump up the ISO. So when you start bumping up that ISO and introduce a lot more sensitivity to that really small sensor, that's when you start introducing grain on your photos. So if you start seeing videos or photos with a lot of grain on them, more than likely it's because your ISO might be bumped up really high. And it's bumped up high in order for you to compensate for that light that's coming in, or that, lack thereof light coming into the sensor. So just to see how the difference these three drones would handle low light situations, I brought the Mavic Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro, as well as the Mavic 2 out. Early morning session, 6 a.m. It was really overcast, low light morning. So I just want to see, flying these side by side, how much of a difference we would see between the sensors. So here, all three cameras I shot in 4K, and just for this part of the video, I downsized it to 1080. And across the board, after downsizing it, it actually wasn't too bad. I thought I'd see a lot more difference. Of course, it's when you really punch in and see that 4K, the big difference between the sensors. You can see a lot more grain with the Mavic Pro versus the other two, as well as it's kind of a little bit more mushy in the grass areas than the Phantom 4 Pro and the Mavic 2 as well. So the reason why people have been moving up to larger sensors, or even something like the P4 Pro and now the Mavic 2 Pro, is because you have a larger sensor which can now capture a lot more ambient light, and when you're able to capture in more light into this sensor, you can now keep your ISO levels really low, 100, 200, 400. And when your ISO levels are low, that's less sensitivity onto your sensor, which means less grain. Now, dynamic range really refers to the amount of detail you can pull out from the middle areas of your photo. If you have a very high contrast or really bright area in your photo versus a very dark area in your photo, how much dynamic range, which is that middle area, how much detail can you pull out of those shadows to capture within your photo? Now, just to give you an example, if you're shooting something that has a sun in the background, or you're shooting in bright daylight, and you have areas that might be really high contrast or overexposed areas, then you're shooting with something in the foreground that might be a building or flowers or a bush. You're gonna have really bright areas and really dark areas, and the ability to capture those middle ground areas or their shadow details is really the benefit of having a larger sensor. So if you ever shot with something like your Mavic Pro or your Air, and you start shooting maybe at sunset, and now of course you're shooting into the sunset and you're able to get a nice horizon, and you have some nice colors that are coming over there, but that foreground now is almost pitch black or really dark. And even if you bring that back into post, sometimes it's hard to bring out those shadows. Now, when you start moving into larger sensors, dynamic range normally will also increase. So even if you're shooting in high contrast areas where there's something that's really, really bright and really, really dark, those middle areas now will still be able to pull out a lot more detail. So you're not necessarily crushing all of your blacks and making them super black, and your highlights aren't always blown out. So you can actually expose a little bit lower of your highlights so you're not blowing out those whites and still properly expose inside those middle areas of those shadows. One of the big benefits of having a larger sensor when you start moving up is the ability to have a higher dynamic range. And when you have higher dynamic range, you're able to now pull out details from those shadows, which you normally wouldn't be able to do if you had a smaller sensor. Now, aperture is really the available light that's able to pass through your lens to hit the sensor. Now, for instance, the Mavic Pro has an f2.2 and the Mavic Air has a 2.8 aperture. And these are fixed, so you're not able to adjust it, versus something like the Phantom 4 and the Mavic 2, where you're able to adjust the aperture and, in a sense, make the aperture smaller, which is really letting in less and less and less light. And the reason why that's beneficial is that it helps you dial in your shutter speed. Now, with an adjustable aperture here, you're able to adjust your aperture anywhere between a 2.8 to an f11. So a 2.8 will let in a lot of light into your camera lens, which in turn hits your sensor. And if you go all the way to f11, the available light shrinks all the way down to an f11, which lets in less light that can hit your sensor. But if you're able to control that, what you want to do is then, with less light that hits your sensor, you're now able to also lower your shutter speed and, in a sense, get to that shutter speed you want to, which is normally the 180-degree rule for video. So if I'm shooting at 30 frames a second, you're gonna want your shutter speed down to about 60 frames a second. Now, this is the reason why adjustable apertures on cameras like this are so important, is because you're able to make those fine-tuned details while you're already in the air. Versus here, if you had to make those detail changes, you have to bring the drone back in, change out the filter, and then fly it back up. So at the end of this video, you're really asking yourself, what do I need it for? What type of flyer am I? Do I even need to step up to the system? I already have a Mavic Pro. Do I need it? Do I need it? Do I need it? At the end of the day, it's really just, what is the type of output you really need? And you're really just having this for fun. Any one of these platforms, even the smaller ones, are gonna do just fine. Now, if you're finding yourself you really, really want to shoot and need higher quality low light, you need a little bit better dynamic range, of course, you start getting into the photography side of things and really start understanding those aspects of it. Of course, this is where you start moving into higher end or higher end cameras and larger and bigger drones that can accommodate these larger cameras and larger sensors. There's so many other things that are involved when you're dealing with video and photography than just the camera, than just the sensor and things like that. There's many things like how you shoot, the composition, framing, understanding frame rates and things like that. So don't get too caught up with understanding it all at one time. This is more about photography and the camera and understanding the camera at this point, because I feel like the flight technology for DJI is so high that you're not worried about all that stuff. It's really up to you to understand what you want that output to be. And if your output is the highest possible quality and the most compact size for a drone, then this is kind of where you're at. The Mavic 2 Pro. If you guys, of course, got value from my video, smash that like button, and I have a lot more videos coming out, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is Aldrin Estacio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you guys in the next Mavic video. Peace.